Welcome students. Students, in the previous class, we were discussing about the destruction of democracy. There, we had discussed how Hitler, after getting the offer of chancellorship from the President Hindenburg, started dismantling the democratic system, and this movement or the dismantling of democratic system facilitated by the mysterious fire broke out in the parliament of Germany, that is Reichstag. After that, the fire decree of 28th February facilitated all this. Through this act, it suspended the civic rights, freedom of speech, expression and assembly, which was being given by the Constitution of Weimar Republic. There also, we had discussed how after the fire decree, Hitler turned towards his arch enemies, the communists, and sent them to the newly established concentration camp. Students, today we are going to continue the same part of the chapter, that is destruction of democracy. Next part is the Enabling Act, reconstruction of Germany, foreign policy of Hitler, and the Nazi world view. On March 1933, the famous Enabling Act was passed. What was that act? This act established complete dictatorship in Germany, because this act gave Hitler all powers to sideline parliament and started ruling by decree. Because of these rights, all political parties and trade unions which were existed in Germany were banned, except the Nazi party and its affiliates. So all the political parties and trade union banned except the Nazi party, and through this he established dictatorship in Germany. Through this act, the state established complete control over the economy, media, army, and judiciary. So the path of establishment of dictatorship became clear through this act. Through this act also, special surveillance and security forces were created to control and order society the ways the Nazi wanted. Special surveillance and security forces in order to control over the society and the people, those who are going against Nazi party. Apart from this, the already existing regular police that was in green uniform and the SA or the stormtroopers, they also form special security forces like Gestapo, that is secret state police, SS, the protection squads, SD, criminal police and security service. Through all these agencies, Hitler started controlling over the society, and he wanted to create a special states according to his own choice, and the dream was fulfilled through this system of creating special surveillance and security forces like SS, Gestapo, SD. It was the extra constitutional power which has been given to the Nazi party under the leadership of Hitler. Through this, the Nazi state and its reputation as the most dreaded criminal state was established. People could now be detained in Gestapo torture chambers, rounded off and sent to the concentration camp. deported at will and arrested without legal procedures. It means by using this special security forces or surveillance forces, people now could be detained in the Gestapo torture chambers where they were tortured, thereafter sent to the concentration camps and deported at will, and the people were arrested, particularly those who were going against the Nazi party without following any legal procedures. This was the way to create complete dictatorship in Germany, and in this way Hitler dismantled the democratic process. Now, after dismantling the democratic states, now Hitler started reconstructing Germany, as he was always speaking in his speeches to give a new look to the German that was started now. That is the reconstruction of Germany. Hitler assigned the task of reconstructing Germany, that is the responsibility of economic recovery, to a great economist called Hammarskjöld. Hammarskjöld, they claimed at full production and full employment through a state-funded work creation program. Hitler several times in his speeches has always given importance to provide job opportunity to the people, because he had seen during the time of Great Depression people were standing in the queue in search of jobs. They were playing cards without getting any job. So that was the mindset of Hitler. He wanted to give job opportunity at a full production and full employment through a state funded work creation program. And this was the project. This was the project which gave opportunity to the people in large number. And this project produced the famous German superhighway and the people's car called Volkswagen. You see the poster here, the image through which it was shown to the people, that the poster announces your Volkswagen. Such poster suggested that owning a car was no longer just a dream for an ordinary worker. It means it was on the reach of the people that they can own a car also. That was called people's car, Volkswagen, that was the people's car. And was the part of the project of economic recovery introduced by Hammarskjöld. After doing something for the economic revival, now Hitler gave importance to the foreign policy. Now we will discuss about the foreign policy of Hitler. In foreign policy also, Hitler acquired quick success. How did he do it? He pulled out Germany out of the League of Nations in 1933 and reoccupied the Rhineland in 1936. The League of Nations, that was the part of the different countries where Germany was a part of that. Now, after coming to power, Hitler pulled Germany out of the League of Nations and reoccupied Rhineland in 1936. Thereafter, he integrated Austria with Germany under the slogan, "One people, one nation and one leaders." Under this banner, "One people, one nation, one leader," he integrated Austria with Germany. He then went to capture German-speaking Sudetenland from Czechoslovakia. This was the part of Czechoslovakia, that was the Sudetenland where people were speaking German language, and he captured that part of the land also. In all of this, he had an unspoken support of England. He made all those things possible integrated Austria with Germany, captured Sudetenland from Czechoslovakia. While doing this, he was having the great support of England, because England had considered Versailles' verdict was too harsh on Germany. That was the support given to Germany by England. So, Hitler, after getting this success at home also and abroad also, he started thinking to reverse the destiny of the country, and he worked in that on that way also. He got success quickly at home also and abroad also, and through this he started fulfilling his dream to reverse the destiny of the people of Germany, what he had shown to the people while he was giving speeches. He was a great orator, you know. He was always speaking for the unity of the Germany and to provide opportunity to the people. But Hitler didn't stop here. He integrated Austria with Germany, captured Sudetenland, but he didn't stop here. Now he went on. But his economic advisor, Helmer Stadt, he advised Hitler not to proceed further, because it hugely impact on the finance of the country, because always fighting or leading war is not at all possible for a country. It is having its economic impact. That was advised by Hammersat. But Hitler was not the person to listen, because cautious people were having no place in Nazi Germany. As a result of this, Hammersat had to leave. Hitler chose war as the way out of the approaching economic crisis. No matter economic crisis was there in Germany, it was known to Hitler also, but he was always thinking that in order to come out of the economic crisis, he preferred to war, because through war resources could be accumulated. Resources could be accumulated by expanding territories. And looking into this matter, considering in this way, September 1939, Germany invaded Poland. This started with France and England. In September 1940, a tripartite pact was signed between Germany, Italy and Japan. And this pact, which was called as tripartite pact between Germany, Italy and Japan, strengthened the claim of Hitler as an international power. This pact gave opportunity to Hitler to be an international leader. Now, after that, puppet regime supportive of Nazi Germany were installed in a large part of Europe. Wherever Hitler had proceeded, got success by controlling those areas, he installed a puppet regime there. That was the part of the supportive of Nazi Germany. And by the end of 1940, Hitler was the pinnacle of his power. He was at his best position. Now, looking into this opportunity, Hitler moved to achieve long-term aim of conquering Eastern Europe. You see, he conquered the part of Sudetenland, Poland, Austria. By doing all these things, now he was having a greater dream. That was conquering Eastern Europe. You see, there was a time when all those parts of the territories were under the German power. This was the image, the map work which shown the expansion of Nazi power in 1942. Hitler wanted to ensure food supplies and living space for Germans. That is why, looking into this, in order to expand the territories, to provide better food supplies, living space to the people of Germany, he attacked Soviet Union in June 1941. But students, this was a great blunder committed by Hitler. One of the biggest mistakes committed by Hitler. He attacked Soviet Union. It was a historic blunder that exposed German Western Front to the British aerial bombing and the Eastern Front to the powerful Soviet armies. Both the front, Hitler was unable to get success. The Soviet Red Army inflicted a crushing and humiliating defeat on Germany at Stalingrad. The army of Hitler didn't get success. Rather, it was crushed, a humiliating defeat in the hand of the Soviet Red Army at Stalingrad. After this, the Soviet Red Army didn't stop. They hounded out the retreating German soldiers until they reached the heart of Berlin. And this shows or helped the Soviet Union to establish their hegemony over East Europe. But during this time, USA was not seen in the war. USA did not enter the war as they feared an economic crisis once again, like what it had happened after the First World War. That was the Great Depression period. It was the impact of First World War, and it was never forgotten by USA also. That is why knowingly they didn't want to enter into the war. But USA couldn't stay for a long period of time being out of war. When Japan started expanding its power in the East, at that time USA entered into the war. Japan had occupied French Indochina and was planning to attack on US naval base in the Pacific. At that time, USA came into the scene, came into the war. When Japan started attacking on the US naval base, that was happened also. When Japan extended its support to Hitler and bombed the US base at Pearl Harbor, then US entered the Second World War. Japan gave support to Hitler, and at the same time Japan bombed the US base, naval base at Pearl Harbor, and because of this only USA entered into the Second World War. You see the image when Japan bombed the US naval base at Pearl Harbor. This was the image of that. What type of destruction made because of the bombing, students, you can see from the image. So automatically this incident driven USA into Second World War. But the war ended in May 1945 with Hitler's defeat and the US dropping of the atom bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki in Japan. With the support being provided to Hitler by Japan, Hitler was started dreaming for controlling over that part, but Hitler had to be defeated. And when USA came to the war, Second World War, Hitler's defeat became possible. At last, in May 1945, the war ended with Hitler's defeat and the US dropping of the atom bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki in Japan. Students, you can see the image of dropping of atom bomb at Hiroshima and Nagasaki. You see complete destruction in these two parts of Hiroshima and Nagasaki in Japan. With this, the Second World War came to an end, and the power of Germany, which was there in the hand of Hitler, also came to an end. Students, we are discussing about the destruction of democratic setup in Germany and reconstruction made by Hitler in order to bring Germany into the world figure and establish Germany as a super powerful country in the world. But with the defeat of Hitler, the aim which has been there shattered. Now we'll discuss the next part, the Nazi world view. Students, the crimes that Nazis committed were linked to a system of belief and a set of practices. Whatever the crime that was continued during the time of Nazi rule, that is sending people to the gas chamber, concentration camps, all those crimes which are committed by the Nazis linked to a system of belief and a set of practices. And the Nazi ideology was synonymous with Hitler's worldview. What was this Hitler's worldview? According to this, there was no equality between the people, but there is the existence of racial hierarchy. People are not equal. There is the existence of racial hierarchy. This was the world view of Hitler. And according to this view, blonde, blue-eyed Nordic German Aryans were at the top. Racial hierarchy. Some categories of races will be at the higher places, whereas others are at the lower places. That is what the blonde, blue-eyed Nordic German Aryans were at the top, while the Jews were located at the lowest rung of the society. These Jews, they came to be regarded as the anti-race, the arch enemies of the Aryans, whereas the Nordic German Aryans at the top place. So, the Jews considered as the anti-race, the arch enemies of the Aryans, and all other colored people were placed in different places according to their physical features. So, physical feature is most important here in the Nazi Germany. Hitler's idea of racism borrowed from the thinkers like Charles Darwin and Herbert Spencer. The ideology of Hitler that is based on racism was borrowed from the concept of thinkers like Charles Darwin and Herbert Spencer. You know, students, Darwin was a natural scientist who tried to explain the creation of plants and animals through the concept of evolution and natural selection. This was the theory of Darwin. But Herbert Spencer later on added that the idea of survival of the fittest. It means those species survived on the earth that could adapt themselves to the changing climatic condition, they will only survive. It means those species will exist on the earth's surface which will adapt themselves according to the changing climatic condition. Otherwise, all those species will be eliminated from the earth's surface. This was added by Herbert Spencer to the theory of Charles Darwin. And Hitler ideology was basically based on this theory of the survival of the fittest. The argument was very simple. The strongest race would survive and the weak ones would perish. That was the theory of the great thinkers Herbert Spencer, the survival of the fittest. The strongest race would survive and the weak ones would perish. So, Nazi believed in this ideology, and according to them, Aryan was at the top of the racial hierarchy, and they are the finest one. So, it had to retain its purity, become stronger, and dominate the world. Nazi always believed that the Aryans had to retain the purity and they had to become stronger also, and these were the people who could dominate the world. This was the belief of Nazi ideology. The other aspect of Hitler's ideology related to the geopolitical concept of Lebensraum or living space. Through this ideology, Hitler believed that new territories had to be acquired for settlements, and this would enhance the area of the mother country to expand its territories while enabling the settlers on new lands to retain an intimate link with the place of their origin. The people of the country, they will get opportunity to live in different places, but at the same time they will have a intimate link between the place of their origin and the new spaces. This is what called the theory of living space. And it would also enhance the material resources and the power of German nation. When the territories will be expanded, at that time whatever the material resources of those parts would be there, that will be utilized by the people of that country. And this will be the strongest point to lead Germany to a strongest nation of the world. That is why Hitler always believed to expand the territories in order to create living space, at the same time to gain material resources. Hitler intended to extend German boundaries by moving eastwards to concentrate all Germans geographically in one place. He wanted to capture the eastwards so that all the Germans could be geographically live in one place. This was the belief of Hitler, and he worked on that also in order to create living space for the people of Germany. Students, today we have discussed about the destruction of democratic setup in Germany, reconstruction of Germany, as well as the Nazi world view. Before ending the today's class, students, I will just ask you few questions to all of you. The questions are, the first one is for you. What was the Enabling Act? What was the Enabling Act? The answer to the question is, the Enabling Act, first in 1933, gave Hitler all powers to sideline the parliament and rule by decree. Through this, all political parties and trade unions were banned except the Nazi party. The next question, that is in the form of MCQ. Who among the following was assigned the responsibility of economic recovery by Hitler? What is the question? Who among the following was assigned the responsibility of economic recovery by Hitler? The options were Goebbels, Hindenburg, Hammerstadt and Adam Smith. The answer to this question is option C, Hammerstadt. Thank you. Hello na kaଣ କି କ'ଣ କହିବେ ସାର୍? ଆଜ୍ଞା, ଓକେ, ଖାଲି ଆନ୍ସର୍ ଆରମ୍ଭ କରିଦେଉଛି. So the answer to the question is option C, Hammerstadt. So today's question answer session is over now. In the next class, students will discuss about the racial ideology of Nazism. Thank you.